Hello and welcome to the Daily Atheist Morning Show. It is Wednesday, the 28th of October. I think it is, yes. The 20th. We made it to hump day. It's the day of humps. I hope you had a great weekend. Our week so far, very distracted. Got all new show stuff going on. We're going to talk about the Supreme Court and nerding stuff and other things. Andy Hall is going to join me from the Laughing in Disbelief blog over at Pathos. His link is below. We're streaming to Andy's channel on YouTube this morning. So we are now streaming to my channel, all the Facebooks, and Andy's channel as well. Tomorrow morning, we should be streaming on Nokasuchi's channel as well as we build our evil empire of doom and despair. Okay, and we will continue talking about that. All right. Hello, and welcome to Shakespeare with a Redneck. What the? I am Wild Bill Wigglestick, and I'll be your handsome host, your gilded guide, your cowboy concierge of Shakespeare. Dude, really? Today on Shakespeare with a Redneck, I'm going to perform the prologue from Romeo and Juliet. Damn it, Bill. Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end not could remove, is now the 2 hours traffic of our stage, the which if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. Hey, that wasn't half bad. I'm not as dumb as I look. Of course not. You'd be in a coma. Okay, so here's a quick rundown of the situation. Bill, two snot-nosed brats ignore the warnings of their learned parents and end up getting 4 people killed. Bill, come on, man, you're always blah, blah, atheist stuff, blah, blah, boring. Say something fun, for goodness sake. What? Particle is a fun word. Bill, particle. Bill, or talk about horses and dogs. People love horses and dogs. Or boobies. Everybody loves boobies. Bill, oh, can I say boobies on YouTube? If you close your eyes, it doesn't count. Talk about boobies then. Okay, everybody loves those cute little blue-footed bastards. It hurts right here. Culture, baby, coming at you. Avoid bringing a plague on both your houses. A plague on both your houses! By hitting that subscribe button, then that little notification bell. And bang that thumbs up button like frisky cousins at a family reunion. Thank you and take care. Peace.
I don't know how you can be so busy. You don't like stay.
I hate to interrupt them in the middle of the show. They don't pay attention. They don't watch.
No.
They don't watch.
I know.
Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Nokasuchi. Hey, Andy, how are you doing today, buddy?
I am angry. I'm not really sure why. I'm just angry. I'm angry about several things. One of them being that Rage is not up to date with every one of my crappy jokes that comes out of my mouth. And that wonderful video we did yesterday on fascism, Chris. So it's a mixture of anger and narcissism. Normal. It's normal here. It's normal for me. That's what this is.
It's normal. It is normal. You mean he missed it? He didn't get to see it yesterday?
He didn't see
it. I slept through the show yesterday,
Sad
so I missed
face.
it. Yeah.
Sad face.
Show.
Yeah.
I was in a
they
room
don't
all
actually
night.
post them on the internet. No. I'm being a douche.
I can't help it. I was good morning. I couldn't help it. I was in a room cussing out Christians all night, so I slept late yesterday.
Gotcha.
Wow. Good for you. Now, what does sleeping late mean for you?
9:30.
9:30.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time.
Yeah, I woke up at 8:15, got my daughter up, and yeah, I'm going back to bed. And I got another hour, so.
See,
yeah.
I am jealous and angry now for you being able to sleep until 9:30. Even when I'm torched drunk the night before, I'm still up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning the next day. Doesn't matter. I could be in bed by 2, 3, still up.
Well, I spent a week and a half, and I was still streaming and staying busy, but I didn't get nowhere near the work done that I should have. So now that I feel good, I'm kind of just catching up. So yeah, it's hard for me to go to sleep now because I've got so many people that I want to talk to before I go back to work tomorrow.
I have so many people I want to yell at, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, talk, yell, tomato,
Talk. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, awesome sauce. There we go, man. I tell you, everything seems to be working so far. So, hey guys, what do you think, Andy, Nokasuchi? All right, so we got a poll going. I think I'll put it up in just a second. What do you think about where we need to head now that they have gone ahead and confirmed Amy Coney Barrett? It doesn't seem to be. Isn't it amazing how no matter what they found and how unfortunate she was for that role, the conservatives went ahead and put her in it? No matter what. It did not matter. The conservatives are unified and swimming together. That's why whenever I mention things like whenever Trump gets voted out of office and refuses to leave, those conservatives will turn with him. I say that because of these kind of things.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I think they saw the writing on the wall. They see a blue wave coming. Like they denied it for so long, but it's pretty much inevitable. The writing's on the wall. They needed that 6-3 court to really validate the things that they're going to be doing to try to win their elections.
Yeah. Well, it just seems so remarkable that and I'm about to crap on atheists right now. Well, not on atheists proper, but on the atheist movement. It just seems like to me we spend a lot of our times as a community fighting court battles as against to winning hearts and minds, and yet somehow that's been able to bite us in the butt with the entire Supreme Court going completely conservative, maybe fascist. Who knows? Only time will tell. But it just confirms my thoughts, my belief that we should be more interested in changing hearts and minds than fighting court battles. So court battles are important, but ultimately it's politics. Politics trumps the law. Politics trumps courts. It does all those things. That means you need to have people on your side.
True.
I'm just trying to be unpopular. Well, that's what my role is here. Saying unpopular words.
And see, you do a great job of that. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
That's why we have you here, actually.
Well, obviously, it's not for my good looks.
I didn't say that.
That's why we have the rage here.
Hey, don't be mean to my Andy. Right? There's the poll. All right, so now the poll is going. I'm going to throw the poll up. Hey, look, everything is working today. I don't know what to do. I don't know. The tech gremlins, I don't know where they are. I mean, you should have seen me yesterday. All day long, I was clubbing me some tech gremlins. For those of you who don't know, we are now streaming to Andy's channel and my channel at the same time, and Facebook, and it's all unified in the chat on the screen, and I blessed it. I prayed over it. I was Jedi mind tricking that shit. I'm like, oh. And it works. Look, it works. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Did I say thank you? I did not say hello to the damn nation yet this morning, which is different all of a sudden because of the difference. Now in the chat on the screen, the chat is unified, and we should be seeing the chat from 2 different YouTube channels and Facebook on the screen. I'm not sure because we go out to about almost 20 different Facebook pages and groups, and I don't know how. Sometimes it works. Like I'll be streaming to Chris Mallard. If you go to my Chris Mallard page and type a word, it'll show up. Also, if you go to one of the groups, it'll show up. Some groups it does, some groups it doesn't. Unify the chat and the questions on the Facebook. So I don't know what's going on over there. I think it's a privacy setting that I have nothing to do with, depending on the group we're going to. But good morning to everybody. I'm going to have to just narrow down this greeting then, the way we're doing it. I'm going to say good morning to everybody on YouTube, Facebook, and those people listening on the Daily Atheist Morning Show podcast. I hope you're having a great week so far. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to talk about some judges and stuffs.
We're going to judge the judges because that's what we do here.
Yes. Oh, you know what? I haven't done it in a while. I got to say, pause for a moment and say hello and thank you to that YouTube employee who has to go back and watch every video in order to monetize my show. Thank you. I hope you have a great day. I hope your week is going fine. All right, so guys, the Supreme Court, there are people making comments in the chat saying, yeah, stack it. Let's stack that Supreme Court.
Well,
we should. I think we should. They did. They've been merciless for the last 8 or 12 years on the Supreme Court. Mitch McConnell.
What conservatives are really good at are seeing openings and then pushing through those openings really fast. So Amy Coney Barrett's a prime example of this. They saw an opening and they just rushed right through it as fast as they could. Sure, it was a shoddy procedure. Sure, in a perfect world, it wouldn't be done. But they were really good at getting their person in, and we need to be just as good in that 2 years that we're going to have. Hopefully, if Biden is president, we have the Senate, or at least a majority in the Senate and the House of Reps. We need to be able to cram as many things as possible in that time.
Yep.
I just want to say, I was reading this article from the Friendly Atheist from September 20th, and he was talking about Amy Coney Barrett back then. And one of the disturbing parts is how she is willing to overthrow past precedent. I'm just going to read you a paragraph of this. Barrett wrote in 2013 that legal precedent, stare decisis, and I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, and I'm sorry, could be called into question if the judge felt a previous decision was wrongfully decided. Quote, soft stare decisis, apologies for the pronunciation, helps the court navigate controversial areas by leaving space for re-argument despite the default setting of continuity. That means she is more than happy to overthrow past decisions that do not go along with the crazy thoughts the people of praise have put into her head. And the people of praise, of course, is the crazy Catholic cult that she belongs to.
Yes. Crazy Catholic cult.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, yeah, I think we should definitely stack the court. There's nothing in the Constitution saying how many judges we can have. We've changed the number of judges a few times in the country already. If you look at what has happened, a third of the federal judges now have been appointed by Trump. That's because Mitch McConnell stopped all of Obama's appointments for the last 2 years of his presidency. It wasn't just Merrick Garland. It was Mitch McConnell shut down everything, would not do anything for Obama for 2 years. That opened up a whole lot of judges that, as Andy said, Republicans saw their opening. They have pushed through more judges than any president. So a lot of two-term presidents didn't get as many judges as Donald Trump did. So yeah. I think that we have to balance the courts, because the courts do not represent the populace of the people. The populace of the people, 70% agree with progressive policy, agree with not overturning Roe v. Wade, agree with having health insurance, even if it's crappy Obamacare. I think that we have to be strong. We have to stack the courts. Unfortunately, we need new leadership to do so. We've got to get rid of Pelosi. We've got to get rid of Schumer. They will not do it.
I'm also going to throw out this idea, which I know that Chris and I chatted about before, is that what's more important than stacking the court, at least in my humble opinion, is that we stack the Senate. You heard it right there. We need to stack the Senate. And you say to yourself, how can we stack the Senate, Andy Hall? I'll tell you how. Statehood for D.C. and statehood for Puerto Rico. We do those two things, we get 4 more senators, pretty much reliable blue senators. And that way we stack the Senate and at least make things a little bit more equal for us. In the long term, in terms of the institution itself, we will have more leverage in the Senate. So, yes. Puerto Rico, D.C. statehood, we can cram one of those two, hopefully both of those, through in 2 years of a Biden presidency. That would be magic right there.
We're going to have, if the blue wave hits, we're going to have 2 years to do it. If they don't do it then, they never will.
Yep, exactly. Well, it won't be for who knows how long.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows how long.
We have a window now to do some great things. If the blue wave hits, if the rejection of Trump and fascism is absolute, we're going to have a mandate. Use it. You have to use it.
Yeah, you have to have bold action. And once again, it's about creating a system that is more towards our favor, because Supreme Court justices, they can come and go in all reality. But if we get 2 new states that are solidly blue, that's something that's going to last for the foreseeable future, for who knows how long.
I agree. Unfortunately, I don't know if you guys saw Schumer and Pelosi yesterday. They're talking like the progressives want to do it. And Republicans, you need to pay attention, because the progressives want to do it. They're not going to do it. If we get the majority in the Senate, we have to get a new leader. It cannot be Chuck Schumer, and we have to get out Pelosi. She's got to go. She cannot be in leadership. She's got to go.
You still hurting over the unemployment shtick?
Yeah.
So would I, dude. So would I. I'd be feeling some hurt about that too. Yeah, I think you got to be aggressive. I think once again, and I know that we're going to be talking a lot about this when we do that stream next Tuesday. That we're going to be talking about the only reason why Biden might be winning is because of COVID-19. We cannot rely on plagues to save the republic. You know, it is just an unfeasible strategy in the long run.
Yeah, and I mean, we're just fortunate enough that Donald Trump is an idiot and doesn't see like how he could win this election. He doubles down on his Corona stance instead of, oh, I was wrong, come vote for me. He's just an idiot.
Yeah, how idiotic he is I'm looking at 538 right now, and 538 is saying that Biden has an 89% chance of winning the election. This is by far
Yeah, that's insane.
chance. That's like an insane amount. There is no chance right now of a tie, and of course that means Trump only has an 11% chance of winning the general election. So
it's insane.
And with Trump losing that badly, that means all the down ticket races will probably go blue too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we had a recent Supreme Court victory for the Republicans in a swing state. They voted that Wisconsin can't count ballots after the election, and which is what Trump is saying now. He wants results on election night. He doesn't want ballots to be counted after election night. And now they've got the judges to do it. It is horrifying. Like, not like for the first time, I'm like, we need to at least have a few days before a victor is announced, because it's going to be like waiting on a murder verdict. The sooner it comes back, the worse,
I'll say this about Wisconsin. It might be such a huge tide in Wisconsin. That's not going to matter. Biden and I'm not making this up, because the number is so absurd. The number is so absurd that it is almost unbelievable. An ABC Washington Post poll, which has an A+ rating, says that Biden is up by 17 points in Wisconsin, which is an absurd number. I mean, It's not as awesome as Massachusetts, don't get me wrong, but it's still an absurd number. 17 points ahead.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And Biden has a 93% chance of winning Wisconsin, so that's pretty awesome.
And Biden has I can't remember the odds, but he's up big time here in Michigan as well, and that's a huge change. Michigan did not like Hillary Clinton. We went for Bernie. It was a surprise in that primary that Michigan went for Bernie. Yeah. They did not like Hillary Clinton. She's been demonized here. Joe Biden hasn't. So it's a different story this go around. Joe
Biden, just by hiding in the and this has been the strategy, I think, that has been awesome for the Democrats, is that Joe Biden hasn't had to be out in public, so he can just basically take all the benefits of Trump shooting himself in the face, because that's what Trump Trump isn't even shooting himself in the foot anymore. He's shooting himself in the face, and so Biden can just kick back and just let the votes come in for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, I got to give it to a strategist. At first, I was very critical. I'm like, I said it right here on this show. Like, they need to have that grassroots movement. They need to be out knocking doors. But it seems like they gambled on the right strategy here, and they're going by the science. They're showing that they're being very careful, very small events outside, very strategic with their events. And I think that's working to the benefit. People are saying, hey, this guy gets COVID. He understands. It's good strategy, and I have to give it to him.
I want to talk to KCA Randy, because he correctly pointed out, didn't 538 have HRC with similar numbers in 2016? Hillary Clinton only had really, really awesome numbers right after the scandal where Trump was talking about grabbing them by the thing. I don't even know what allows what can I say on YouTube? Can I say the P word?
Hoo-ha.
Hoo-ha. All right. So we're going to go with the hoo-ha. And so Hillary had a very soft level, a soft level of support, and then she catapulted up to a high watermark right after the grab 'em by the hoo-ha controversy, and that was her high point, and that she regressed back towards the mean, which means I'm sorry for the two means in the same sentence. Her support went back down again. This time, Biden has had pretty much dominating polls all the way through. But, KCA Randy, you are right. It is worthy to be somewhat concerned about the polls at this point. I mean, as you know, we shouldn't be sucking our own phalluses, though the odds are looking pretty good.
I think that it's a different dynamic than 2016. I think because I was listening to Rush yesterday, because I listen to Rush and Hannity pretty much every day. Know thy enemy, and they're still talking about the shy Trump voter, the Trump voter that doesn't admit to voting for Trump. And like in 2016, that turned the election. Yep. But there ain't many of those anymore. Either you're hardcore Trump or you're not.
I'm going to do a Jim Carrey, Joe Biden imitation. But the reason why the polls were so off is because there were so many undecided voters in 2016. And, the email issue came up at the last minute. That turned a lot of undecided voters towards Trump. We don't have that many undecided voters to begin with, one. And two, this whole COVID-19 has caused so many people to do early voting that people have made their decisions, and even if Trump dropped a huge surprise right now, it really wouldn't affect a lot of races.
Yeah, and what we're seeing from early voting for the first time, the youth vote is there. It's there. They're coming out in numbers, and that is good for us. I mean, across the board, that is a good indicator that we're going to sweep this election.
Yeah, and you're welcome, KCA Randy. I like answering questions. I know answers too. That's what I like.
I want to take a moment and say thank you to Ian Davenport for the $5 Australian of support to the channel. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Great sticker. Love
what the heck is going on in Melbourne? They had like a 3-month quarantine or something like that. I just was reading an article on BBC News that they're just coming out of quarantine that was like for months. I wish I knew more about it, but that's what I know. When I heard it was Australian dollars, it's like, what is going on over there?
They got some strangeness going on. Sammy Jenkins was telling me this morning about they're over there having some very similar Supreme Court issues, unless I'm mistaken. I was distracted working on the show, and I was like, dude. No, I'm kidding, Sammy. But he was saying, see, I was paying attention. I listened. He was saying that they got something similar going on, and that Trump's craziness over here is driving craziness over there.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the rise of the oligarchs. It's the rise of the oligarchs and the retreat of democracy. That's what we're saying. I want to speak to DeVos. If it goes to the court, the polls don't matter. The thing is, if it is a complete blowout, even on election night, which is hopeful, a blowout for Biden, then Trump has a far less of a strong case. He has a weaker case. Trump has a weak case to bring it to the Supreme Court if it's a blue tide blowout.
And I mean, and even this Supreme Court should be well aware that we're not going to take no bullshit. I mean, you come at us with some bullshit over this. Remember what happened in France? Like, we're going to break out the guillotines. I mean, I think it only goes to the courts if it's really close. So we got to make sure it's not.
Right, exactly. The Victorian Premier is a fascist, and that is the Australian state there, I guess.
I'll be right back. I'm going to put my tank here.
Your tank? All right. He ignored all advice given to him by his advisors and health professionals. Well, I'm sorry to hear that about the Australians.
Andy, you want to go ahead and fill us in on what's going on there? What are you talking about? You're reading.
Well, I'm talking with Sammy Jenkins here in the chat, and
he's an Aussie. You can't trust him.
You can't trust him. I think that Australians are the most American people that aren't Americans, to tell you the truth. And when I say that to Australians, I apologize beforehand if it's too insulting. But all of us colonials, all of us saucy colonials here, we the Australians and here in the States, we do seem to carry some interesting personality characteristics. So so remember, Sammy Jenkins says he ignored all advice, that is the premier of the state, all advice given to him by advisors and health professionals. So hey, Rage, you're back.
Hey, there's the guy. There's Rage. Yeah, no surprise there, though. I mean, if they're doing something similar to what we're doing over here, then over there they've got mandatory voting, and that kind of slows down the conservative, the fascist nutbags a little bit,
This is true.
And it was Chris the Atheist Pastor that taught me that.
What did he teach you? I'm sorry. Oh, mandatory voting. That holds on. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I do think we do see a surge of far right extremists, especially fascism, all across the world. We saw it in France. We see it in the UK with their movements against Islamic immigrants. You see a resurgence in Germany. It's illegal to fly the Nazi flag in Germany, and yet people are starting to fly that flag again.
Do you know what they do instead? Is they'll fly the rebel flag.
Yeah, they'll fly the
Confederate flag. They'll fly the Confederate flag, and I have seen they will arrest you in Germany. They won't stop. They don't pass go. They don't collect $200. They arrest you right now and carry you away right now if you have a Nazi flag. They don't mess around about that stuff. But you
they
get
don't.
away with
they'll usually use the Confederate flag, but more and more, like they had this really big rally back when Le Pen was running in France in support of her in Germany, and it was probably the first time I saw swastikas in Germany since they stopped allowing that crap.
Yeah. Lady Starfire says the voting is up to date. So far in Colorado is 2,400% up from last time, I believe is what she's saying.
I could see
and that's
that.
true. We've already got. I mean, I was watching a thing last night. We're into the millions more have already voted so far than did last time.
I believe we're at the halfway point. So in other words, the total number of votes done in 2016, the number of votes already put in is half of that amount. So there's going to be, I've heard numbers up to 160 million votes for this election cycle, which is a lot.
Crazy lot. Yeah.
It's a crazy lot.
True enough. Crazy lot. So I wonder how long it's going to take. Again, I keep railing about. I'm just keen to see what happens whenever if this election goes the way I want it to go, and we sweep the House and the Senate and the presidency and all that. Well, they've got the Supreme Court, but then we stack the Supreme Court. I'm all for that. I have no problems. They have used utter hypocrisy, lies, and just demonstrated the trash that they are on the conservative side over the last few years. I have no problem stacking the court. You know what I think they should do? They should stack the court, use that stacked court to remove the other judges that were put on there illegally by Trump and his illegitimate presidency, and then reset down the size of the Supreme Court the way it should be again. They should fix it, is what I'm saying.
I will say, well, okay, so yes, I agree with the sentiment that the Supreme Court needs to be fixed, and that the warping of the Supreme Court is due to Donald Trump, stealing the election in 2016
and
having
Mitch
crooked
McConnell.
Politics. Mitch McConnell, right, all of that stuff. I will say that stacking the court creates long-term problems, because then the Republicans could easily stack the court too in their favor. So I don't think stacking the court is a long-term solution ultimately. It is a stopgap, it's a firewall, and if we don't do what needs to be done, then we're in deep trouble, whether we stack the court or not.
Right. It's a stopgap measure for now.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
It's a way to get us back into control so we can fix the other things. Yeah, and true. Well, and then what Nokasuchi says is right about Pelosi and Schumer. Carry on. I'll let you.
Ronnie, come on. Oh, sorry. Talking to my daughter.
Okay, you can do that, Rage. We're not going to illegalize you talking to your daughter. But yet. That is correct. So, the idea about stacking the court, it's an interesting idea. It's a stopgap measure. What is more important, and you'll hear me pound the drum about this over the next probably 2 years or so, is about D.C. and Puerto Rico having them as states in the Union, so that the Senate isn't as warped as it is now. There'll be less of a chance for people to filibuster. It'll just make things move so much more smoothly for Democrats.
Hopefully so. Thank you, Jess M, for the $4 of support to the channel. Got us a coffee sticker. Coffee. Oh my goodness, coffee. I'm gonna have to go get me some coffee soon.
I like coffee stickers.
I know, right? Thank you very much for that. All the support really helps. So that's what we've got over the last 8 years, at least. The conservatives have been stacking the entirety of the judiciary. Hundreds of judges. Not kidding at all. Hundreds of judges have been put in over the past 4 years, And then the stopping the judges from Obama.
Yeah.
We need to. Things need to happen. I don't know.
I just want to read a bit from the site Human Rights Campaign, from the article that just came out on October 26th. Amy Coney Barrett's confirmation is a sham and threatens LGBTQ equality. And I'm just going to read a paragraph that should put a shiver down all of our spines. Barrett has demonstrated hostility towards LGBTQ rights. In her words and rulings, she defended the Supreme Court's dissenters on the landmark marriage equality case of Hobgrafell versus Hodges, questioning the role of the court in deciding the case. So she could easily, be a vote against legalizing gay marriage throughout the country. She said Title IX protections do not extend to transgender Americans, claiming it's, quote, a strain on the text, unquote, to reach that interpretation. She misgendered transgender people, referring to transgender women as physiological males, unquote, while casting doubt on transgender rights. Barrett has also consistently demonstrated opposition to reproductive rights, calling Roe versus Wade a quote-unquote erroneous decision. She also refused to hear a racial segregation case, raising significant concerns about her approach to civil rights law. So it's going to be basically trying to bring back or take back all of the progress we've made over the last, decade in terms of LGBTQ rights.
Starting with healthcare. They're about to overturn Obamacare. People like me are going to lose their insurance. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the people on in the House and Senate can do the things that they need to fight those. I don't know what's going on in that department. Sammy Jenkins, though, he kind of took umbrage at my comment earlier about you can't trust him because Australian, because he's not really over there in Australia. They're actually on an island just south of.
Yeah, Australia doesn't exist. It's
right. So he's challenged me. He's given $2 Australian to the channel and challenged me. He asked me, how many crocs have I wrestled? He has wrestled 3.
If we're talking about those shoes, then I can tell you this, sir. I have wrestled many a croc in my time.
Many of those, right?
Never Crocs being Christian in Australia, right? Because I wrestle them all the time.
Okay, well, I believe that you're in the heavy, the most super league of possible range in terms of wrestling crocs. So, yeah.
Hey, Jess M., you're welcome. Thank you for joining us every morning. Jess M. said thank you for making her show, their show better. Distracted by the chat. Don't let me. Grumpy Old Dude says, do any of you know how many people he's fired since he's signed his newest executive order?
He does want to. I have no idea.
I have no idea, but I suspect it's a lot.
Right.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate we don't hear those statistics. You know about the executive order, but you don't know how they utilize these things. So I think that's something that needs to change for any president, not just Trump.
True enough. Good morning to Bullionator. Bullionator has joined us, and Nerdy Rodent. Good morning, guys. Brian the Brain Bug is also here. Thank you all for joining us this morning. So where to go from here?
I'll tell you where to go from here. I just want to talk about the most stupid thing Flow State said this morning so far. Is no one going to acknowledge the Tucker Carlson interview? I don't even know what that's about because I listen to real news, and we all know Tucker Carlson just does entertainment to jerk off conservatives. That's all he does. I believe that it was his court defense.
Yeah.
Is the fact that no one should be taking his crap seriously. I'm sorry. Only legitimate news sources here, Flow State. Go back home.
Right.
Jesus freaking Christ. Every freaking time this guy's here, he just says, I need to say something really stupid and amp this crap up. Well, congratulations, sir. Another successful idiotic statement.
Well, he's got to fill in his fascist quota.
He does.
Got to trigger the snowflakes. So
it's like trying to get news from Alex Jones. It's like, whoa, banner idea. I just want to let you know how excited I am because Alex Jones is on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I'm just going to listen to the Joe Rogan podcast just because Alex Jones can only talk for like maybe 10 minutes before he starts talking about Satan and the third dimension or the fifth dimension or the sixth dimension and going crazy. And so Alex Jones just loves riffing, and he just goes into crazy world, basically. And so I am so psyched up. I have it already queued up on my phone. When I go for my walk later on, I'm going to be listening to Alex Jones just be crazy for who knows how long. These Joe Rogan podcasts would go for like 2 hours. So, and the thing is about Jones, he just goes on and on and on about lunacy. He's like a train. He just keeps going. So psyched about this.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
Neither did I. I was looking through my phone this morning. It's like, I wonder, Alex Jones? Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah. Andy Hall. Real quick, if you don't mind, can you?
Jesus freaking hopping Christ! Come on, be serious.
I just want to take a second. Would you slide your microphone back just a little bit? It's just really hot, and every time when you start yelling, man, it gets really hot.
Okay,
I'm just saying. Yeah. We'll fix that. We're going to fix his microphone after the show. Sorry, people. Pardon.
I'm sorry.
But Andy was passionate. I didn't want to interrupt him, because I get to my arms are waving and stuff, and I'm going like this, and people are going, breathe, Chris, breathe. It was Andy's turn.
It was Andy's turn. Yeah.
And I didn't want to interrupt the guy.
So I usually don't rage until after 11 a.m. So
yeah. Well, I've got my big distraction, as everybody knows. I'm redoing the show, and we're doing all this stuff on the show. So far this morning on our poll, here's our poll. Should the Dems stack the Supreme Court after the election? And so far we have 14 votes for yes, 1 vote for no. Looking at you, Flow State. That's expected. That's expected. I find it I enjoy the interaction between Flow State and Andy. I find it fun. It really gets Andy wound up, man. I tell you, you can't get that for coins. So
Stupid does that to me, man. Stupid does that to me.
Trumper's gonna Trump. I mean, it's kind of like a rule.
Well, I have seen trolls. We've had trolls come in here and bounce them out, and all right. So Flow State does say the occasional right-wing nutbaggish kind of thing, but so far Flow State, I don't know, he or she, they have not been like a normal troll. Like a normal troll. Sure. There's one guy that we got from Nokasuchi. I don't remember who it is. He comes in and spells out the N-word in the chat every morning. Yeah.
P-Mars is an unfortunate human being.
Using that term in the broadest possible sense.
Yeah.
Well, you were saying that P-Mars is just someone who knows that he's trolling, and he's just having fun trolling.
Well, yeah, he believes in freedom of speech, and he thinks that word is just a word. And he also makes claims like racist are the most discriminated group in the country. So
I couldn't argue against that, and I don't have a problem with discriminating against racists. Why is that bad? It's like, why is it bad to be upset with people who would gladly kill you given the opportunity? On any other day, they would just murder, death, kill, murder, death, kill, murder, death, kill. But you're supposed to go, oh, wait, I respect your rights.
Yeah.
To infringe upon what the
and he can't understand why it triggers me. Why would me saying the N-word in your side chat trigger you? It's just a word. I'm like, it's dense, and it's just that further example of just absolute stupidity and ignorance on the right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, true enough. Funny people.
Okay, I'm going to say this. Weinstein's mom. Good morning, Weinstein's mom.
I don't know who Weinstein's mom is.
I don't know either. Nice to meet you. Yeah, Andy, that's why I haven't banned, and I hope nobody else has so far, haven't banned Flow State. Flow State doesn't cross the line. He's just a conservative. Just a Trumper, just a conservative.
I'd like to get him on my channel. Come talk to me, dog.
Oh, yeah.
He would love to get on there with Andy. He's been just frothing at the mouth to debate Andy.
Which I have to tell you, in terms of the people, and I've been pissing off so many people lately, conservatives, liberals.
You have.
There's just a line of people. There's just a line of people who hate me at this point. I am not the popular one out of the three of us. Let me tell you that.
I got a lot of people that hate me. I'm just,
Andy prefaces his post with, I'm going to piss off some liberals. I'm like, man, just don't push them away from Joe, man. Just not now. This is not the time.
No, I don't. I don't.
No, I remember I said that. I'm just saying whenever you did your thing. No, you did good.
I don't understand it with me. Like, I'm way too pretty. How could you hate this? I don't understand.
Right. Me too. Anyway, moving on before I start masturbating.
Oh, please, no. Hands above. No, what, Tobin? Is that the guy from CNN?
Do a little
No.
tubing tugging.
You know
Tubing,
God's
tugging.
watching now. God likes that masturbation.
Yeah.
The Catholic God is looking around the corner. You touching yourself?
I just want to
Masturbation. Where?
Lola Ray asked in the chat is about how we feel about Joe Rogan. I think Joe Rogan has a good heart. I've heard some very good things about him when he was doing stand-up comedy here in Boston back in the day. But the thing is, I think he's just been surrounded with too much testosterone. That's what I think. I think he's hanging around in a toxic culture of too much muscle, not enough brains, and his frontal lobe's been basically hijacked by his limbic system. So he does more harm than good at this point. He's not a skeptic. He's not a skeptic. He thinks he's a skeptic, and he just doesn't have the more harm than good.
I stopped watching him a long time ago because it seems like he tries to play both sides.
Yeah.
And he ends up propping up like really horrible people like Candace Owens. I could just the list of names that I could name, and it's like, so I just stopped paying attention.
I'll say this too, just to irritate people. Sam Harris, I have an issue too. Also, I was talking with John Hamill on Twitter, and we were both just amazed at how Sam Harris just wasn't able to stitch coherent thoughts together about critically talking to a particular guest that he had on a few months ago, or maybe just a few weeks ago. And I've had some issues with Sam. I mean, I still listen to Sam Harris on occasion when he has a guest I want to listen to. But Harris, he's also a guy who struggles, I think, with skepticism in a lot of ways. Not as bad as Joe Rogan. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, well, and with Harris, he made those comments about Islam, and he had he had a faction of the extreme left coming after his head. Yeah. So I think he was kind of turned against leftism in a bit.
Can you clarify that for me? I'm sorry. What was his comments? What did he say?
He basically made a comment. I'm thinking something along the lines, pretty much just drop a nuke on him, something like that.
Sam Harris is for racial profiling in all reality. And there are some arguments for racial profiling. There's some really smart arguments against racial profiling. And they're obvious. And it's obvious that there are some real issues with racial profiling to begin with.
Maybe that's one of those things that in this case it needs to be adjusted, not being necessarily racially profiling to religiously profiling.
Okay, so we're going to put a pin in that for a second. But the thing is, what I've discovered, and this is the same thing with Rogan too, is that if you're being assaulted by a political group, right, by, let's say, the far left, it's very difficult to stay left. Mm-hmm. So if I'm being attacked by the radical left, which I have been in the past, don't get me wrong, it is difficult to stay left because there is this urge to go towards the center or towards the right. We look at like this Silverman guy, right? Who is it, Dave Silverman?
Yeah, I know, right?
Attacked by the left, and so he went right. This is just people want to find paychecks.
It's what made Candace Owens what she is. She was a far lefty. She made this website that doxed right wing people. The far left attacked her for it, and now we have Candace Owens, black pill, whatever she calls herself nowadays, red pill black, and PragerU Miss Candace Owens, and it came. She was a far lefty. I didn't agree with her at all, but the venomous attacks that she got turned her over to the right, and now she's a grifter. Now she just give me that money. I'll say
just a grifter. That's all she is. Yeah, man.
Well, with this, in the instance of Silverman, I think the case of Silverman was one of those situations where he was a righty, or at least one of those people who, what we're seeing now is the real him. He was trying to swim in a group. Not that it pushed him left or to the right. It's just that this is the real him. Matter of fact, me and Andy were talking. We've been talking in the past couple of days about an individual. Yeah. We're not going to name names. An individual who is here in our midst as a lefty, who's got a lefty channel and all this stuff. But really, when you talk to him and get to going on his beliefs and stuff, he's really a righty. Yeah. He's like a righty in sheep's clothing. He's a righty who's not uber right, but he's trying to fit in the lefty kind of mold. And whenever you call him out on, ask him and drive on things, you start to learn that he really is kind of more of a righty.
Yeah.
And that's how it is with Silverman. Silverman was a bastion of the left only because you didn't know what the hell he really thought about race and women and all that, just because he's an atheist. He was just an atheist.
And I think
we found out he's a
power went with
douchebag
that too. And he became Mr. Atheist Pants, and that shit goes to your head. Like, stop giving these awful people validation. And still, people validate. I see people validating David Silverman all the time. No, he's an atrocious human being. Like, no, I don't care if he's an atheist. I don't care who he is. He's atrocious.
You should, there is such an incentive to fanboy over people. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. I am a second commandment atheist. I do not believe in building idols out of people. I don't care who they are, whether within the movement or outside the movement. Because as soon as you start idolizing someone, that means your frontal lobes aren't working properly. They are not treating the subject matter skeptically.
Yeah, I agree.
But the thing is, doing what we do, there is an incentive to idolize and to be sycophantic towards people who have larger channels or who have who are more popular. And I just don't do that. I refuse to do that.
Yeah, me too. I think all people are equal, and I do get fanboy a little bit sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. When I first met Arn Ra, I was like, oh my god, But I try not to do that. You're just a human being,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
True enough. No, grumpy dude, it's not you, brother.
No, dude, it's not Grumpy Dude.
You.
Absolutely not.
Not
Grumpy Dude's solid. Grumpy Dude is solid. That's what.
Yeah, he's firm in his stance, my brother, and keep up the fight.
Of course.
The people that I like to. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, some of us were raised in a different time, and we have prejudices that were instilled in us when we were younger, and we have to overcome those things.
Yeah.
We have to overcome those things now as an adult. And if I get pressed on one of those things, or if I slip and I the other day on a show, I called myself retarded. Remember? We don't use the R word anymore. Remember? We don't use that. But I was raised. It was it just slipped out of my head. Sometimes we come from places, and our new place, we have to learn and adjust that this is not appropriate. Yeah. Sometimes things just pop out. Yep. That's kind of how I feel about some of that. Some of that is that way, but other times you're just an ugly person on the inside. You were raised in that way. I'm talking about Silverman here. That he embraced those things that he should be turning away from. Mm-hmm. He's learned that it's not appropriate. He learned, and unlike us, where we're going, oh man, don't call yourself that. It's the R word, right? No, he's like, screw it. I'm going to call, and he goes on because he's stupid, and that's just the real him.
Yeah.
That's the real.
Well, and right wingers are using that word. It's back in my repertoire mainly just to combat the Christians that use it. They use it against me. They use it as part of their ad hom attacks. And so they're like it's almost like this rebellion against decency in the country. You want to do a decent thing. You don't want to say that word because it's derogatory against people that can't even defend themselves.
Yeah,
you're a snowflake.
But if you don't mind, if I may, we don't identify those people as retarded anymore.
No,
we don't call them. We don't go little Bobby is retarded. We don't do that. We go little Bobby is mentally handicapped. So the term retarded literally is ours, or should be. For people don't go, oh my God, you called him an idiot. Idiots everywhere are going to be upset. No, that doesn't happen.
I agree. It is an adjective. No.
I was having this discussion with one of my close associates the other day about how irregardless is now, I believe, officially in the dictionary.
I just had a stroke.
Now,
that hurts.
The thing is that
it hurts right here.
It's, language, a lot of it is mobocracy, right? So a lot of it is just, language is a living thing, and that means language changes over time. And what's acceptable 50 years ago isn't acceptable now. I'm still mourning the loss of I.E. comma, and people are just doing I.E. comma. It's wrong. It's wrong. But what I viewed within our community, within the atheist community, there's a lot of engineers, a lot of really smart people out there, engineers, mathematicians, scientists, and they have this concept that language and culture should work just like math or about hard sciences, and it just doesn't work like that. Language changes over time. That means if you want to stay relevant, you have to change with it. That's all there is to it.
Right. Phil Lister mentions in the chat, he says mental handicap in Europe went out of use 20 years ago. Learning disabilities is what it's called now.
Yeah, it's people with intellectual disability.
Right. So nobody in a professional field goes around using a professional title, an actual title, referring to anybody as retarded anymore. It just doesn't happen. That's like generations ago stuff. So now, if I call myself retarded, who cares? I'm not offending anybody but me.
Yeah.
I
don't like doing
culture
that.
going overboard, but yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, once again, language changes over time, and when I performed in front of people, and when I'm doing my own show or when I'm doing my blog, what I don't want to be is one of these old comics dudes who just seem to be out of touch and yelling at young people and shaking their fist at clouds. I don't want to be that dude, because you see a lot of guys who are my age who are just, their entire act is that, hey, I'm out of touch, and let me say these things and show you how much I'm out of touch. Yeah.
You damn kids, get off my lawn.
Yeah. It's weak. That's what it is. It's lazy joke making. That's what it is too. It's laziness to rely on those tropes.
True enough. Let's see. So far, I'm just checking our stuff. So far, everything seems to be good, and our poll is at 14-1. As far as, of course, we are an echo chamber. We built that on purpose, right? I don't want to sit around arguing with people. I sing to the choir, preach to the choir. Occasionally, they do get through, though. Looking at you, Flow State. And it's good to have that kind of difference in the chat. So obviously, so far 14 votes for yes, we should. The Dems should stack the Supreme Court. Of course, this is not precluding what Nokasuchi says about Pelosi and blah, 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 blah. I'm going with all that, too. I'm just saying, when the deed is done, we should do the thing at the place with the stuff and get rid of the people. Should we? And also stack the deck. That's what I meant to say. Stack the deck. Stack the Supreme Court.
We should at least add, I think it would be 2 that would even it. We should at least even it out. I don't think that we should try to get a majority, but we should at least even it out.
I think we absolutely should try to get a majority. They had no problem trying to get a majority. None. Yeah. Remember, run up the score. No, you don't get a touchdown ahead of them and go, oh, we're going to sit down now. No, 2 touchdowns ahead, 3 touchdowns ahead, 4. That's what they've done, and they won.
I agree with Chris that if you're going to do the thing, then you should do the thing and push it and press it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they'll do the thing anyway, but I'm gonna stand true. I think that if you go too far, then the other side has the same justifications that we use today. They can.
Yeah, but they've already done it. They've already done that. Yeah. We're now. You could say, let's go back before the riot packed the court. You could go. If the riot packs the court, the left is just going to come back and do it. Well, here we are. Right, the riot has literally packed the court. 6 of the last 9 judges. Or 6 of the 9 judges have been put there, right? I mean, this is not...
But technically, they did it the right way.
They actually didn't. They didn't. They didn't do Marlin Garrick Marlin like they should have.
Well, true, but I mean, their judges were confirmed by a Senate appointed by a president. So I think if you go too far with it, then you're gonna just feed a narrative that they already have out there about the left.
I would say F their narratives and F them sideways with their narratives. But
they're going to do those narratives anyway. It doesn't matter.
They are going to do the narratives anyway, and
we learned that, didn't we? My poor Patriots.
If I was thinking that Coach there was asking people, I know, right? Was telling the team, maybe we should be a little bit nicer to the other side. Yeah, maybe I'd be a little irritated with Coach.
Yeah. No, we need to run up the score. We need to run it up. They correct me if I'm wrong. The conservatives have been screaming about we're trying to pack the courts while they pack the courts. That's what they do. That's hypocrisy. It's the hypocrisy of the right. It takes no effort to go on Google and find conservatives claiming we're packing the courts.
I wanted to make this case earlier, is that, the idea of us packing the courts, it is a sign of weakness and a desperate measure. That's what this is. And we should not be fooling ourselves. And even if we do pack the court, it is a sign that in the long term we are losing, and that there is, whatever foundation we are standing on is on sand at this point.
Yeah, I mean, my final word, and I'll bow to the consensus of my two fine comrades here. I'm going to call you comrades, but I'm just saying, don't lose your integrity and become the hypocrites that we're fighting against. That's all I'm going to say. We have to keep our integrity, and we can do that and still win.
No. I'm not saying anything about I'm not talking about losing integrity or doing anything unethical. I'm talking about back in the courts, nominating as many. There's nothing unethical about that, is there? How's that unethical?
We are losing our heads right now because they are doing that, and then you know what I'm saying.
They're doing it. We're going to lose. We're losing power. Are people going to lose votes? We need to play with the same bats they're playing with. We need to be on the same tenacity they have. That's why we're losing. That's why we're fixing to lose healthcare. That's why we've lost all these things. All these judges, over 160 judges. You know,
I agree. I've always been one. We've got to play by the same rules and play in the same game. Use the tactics that they use, but don't be hypocrites about it. Don't lose our integrity. We can even the courts and then do as Andy suggested and actually pick up those 2 more blue states and get that done with this power instead of abusing the power and turning half the country against us.
Yeah.
I just don't see how my calling for equality in the Supreme Court. Oh well, I guess trying to pack it. Yeah, but they did that. I don't see why that's hypocritical on my part. Hypocritical on my part, or lack of integrity on my part. I mean, that's literally. You said they did it legally. Why is it?
A little bit of pushback, and I'm a fool.
Wow, I like this. I like it when you two argue, and I don't have to do this. This is really good.
Wait. I'm talking to the chat. Y'all come on my channel. I don't care who you are. Come on my channel, call me a fool, and we'll argue about it.
I must have missed that. Yeah.
I would just say that I would agree with Rage is that we have to be intellectually honest with ourselves about what we are doing and to weigh things out skeptically. That being said, once again, stacking the court is only a short-term firewall. We should not be thinking that this is a fix-all or a long-term solution.
Right. Well, my point that I've been saying is that the conservatives went outside of they broke it. They intentionally broke it, and we need to fix it.
Well,
Somebody needs to fix it.
The oligarchs have broken the system effectively, or at least damaged the system, and the Supreme Court is a symptom of that broken system. There's no doubt about that, Chris and Rage.
So calling for them to stack the Supreme to get a stacked Supreme Court, I don't see why that's bad. I don't see how that's.
Well, you know
that's what got us freedoms for women to abortions.
So I will make the argument.
To vote.
I'm just going to frame up the argument about why it could be bad under some circumstances. Not that I have this opinion, but I'm going to play the other side. I would be concerned that the Republicans would just stack the court then, too, and the resulting situation. No, let me continue, please. Let me just finish this one thought, is that we lose one branch of government because it becomes so diluted and such a joke, and people don't have faith in it, that now all the power that the Supreme Court would have now goes to either the legislature or to the president. More likely it would go to the president because the legislature can't get its act together. So that's what happens when we weaken one branch of government. Either the judicial or the legislature, is that the power goes to the chief executive. And that's a real potential problem if we weaken the Supreme Court by diluting it with judges. That is an argument that I think is coherent.
Is it not already diluted?
Sure.
3-6. Is that not already? All right, so no. Why is it my call to remove that dilution and make it more of an equal par? Why is it that's bad? Why? I don't understand what. We can't do that.
Well, no, I straight up said let's even it. I said let's put 2 more judges on there. I said let's not do what they're doing.
But evening it just gets a stalemate in the Supreme Court.
No, John Roberts has been a fairly decent Chief Justice, and he has went both ways.
Well, one of the things I've been talking about is stacking it, and then you're like, then they'll vote back to stack it back the other way. Well, here's the point, though. If we get the House, get the Supreme Court, stack the Supreme Court, get the House, get the Senate, stack the Supreme Court. Then we can do things like mandatory voting, and they will never, the far right wing will never have enough power ever again to do those things. There won't be restacking the Supreme Court ever. They won't be able to if we can get mandatory voting in.
I don't know.
So,
I mean, if you turn half the country against you, mandatory voting will work against you.
I don't.
I will also say that the problem with stacking the Supreme Court is similar to getting rid of the filibuster. Getting rid of the filibuster in the Senate just makes the Senate that much weaker, and which makes the executive more powerful. So there's an argument there too.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at what happened when what's his face did it for the Democrats the last time. That opened the door for Mitch McConnell to be able to do what he did.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, but anytime
I'm happy about that.
When the Democrats have power, they can't get anything done because the conservatives fight them and filibuster and do all this. Whenever the conservatives have power, they seem to do all these things. And I'm sitting here going, hey, how come we aren't doing the same things they do? And you're all going, oh, we can't do that because we won't be ethical. I'm like, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about just, women did not get the chance to vote by a stacked, equal Supreme Court. No, we had to have some liberal side. Now, again, the surprise John Roberts, right? Well, thank you, John Roberts, for being the guy. Who thought that he would do what he's done? But he has. Maybe the other ones will do it too.
Well, I mean, and he just recently he was he voted consensus with his party on Wisconsin, but he does look at the nuance. He voted Wisconsin because it's about states' rights, and he's always voted against that same situation when it's on a federal level. So I think it's just understanding of the Supreme Court and how it works. No, I'm all for taking that nuclear option and adding judges to the court. I think we have to, because we're gonna see 20 or 30 years of ramifications if we don't. My argument is we don't need to go too far. We already have 33% of the country that thinks that we're demonic. I literally talked to somebody yesterday that called us the demon left.
The demon left.
Here's my point though. It doesn't matter whether we try to stack it or not. They're going to accuse us of that. They're already demonizing us for that now.
You want to be able to...
No, let me finish.
Off the line.
They're already doing that right now. And you're saying that, don't stack the court, because if you do it, they're going to do that. Well, no, they're already doing that now. Let's stack the court and get some power and get women the rights with their bodies and get health care for people and do all these other things instead of going, oh, no, we can't do that because then we'll be... No, I don't think so. I just disagree is all. I'm just saying that we need to...
So realistic argument. Do you think that Joe Biden is going to appoint a single leftist judge? No, he's not. He's not.
See.
Well, yeah. I just to say
vote for Trump then.
As we close our arguments, because we're getting up to that time, and I have a show at 11 o'clock. Thank you for asking if I have a show coming up today at 11 a.m. Eastern. I have the Harmonic Atheist coming on. Cheap plug for Andy's channel. But I would say if I was going to suggest to the Democrats what they should do in those 2 years, it's statehood for Puerto Rico and D.C. It's more important than court packing, ultimately. If you can
we
get
can
those
do
two
both.
things done.
There's no reason why we can't do both.
And I agree with that, too.
Yeah.
I think we should do both. I really do.
To certain degrees, yeah. Well, you know what, guys? As Andy mentioned, thank you. It is time to wrap up the show. Thank you for joining us today. For a guy who ain't got no job, you sure always got no. He's the one. Remember, whenever that day you're like, I forgot the way you said it. It was like you were on vacation. I'm like, no, you ain't on vacation. You quit your job, bitch.
Anyway. I did quit my job because I don't want to die.
You don't want to die. So, all right. So you said you have something going on. Do you have anything else going on you want to talk about? I got a lot of nerding to do after the show.
I have the Harmonic Atheist coming on. He's a YouTuber, just deconverted 13 months ago. He's coming on my channel at 11 a.m. We're going to have a great conversation. And
good,
of course,
awesome.
So that's what I'm really pumped up about right now.
Looking forward to that. Hey, Nokasuchi, how about you, brother?
I'm getting a phone call. I'll probably do something around 6 o'clock tonight. Not an
Go ahead and
open
get
rating,
it.
but
Go ahead and get your call, and I'll rattle for a minute. Yeah, so what I'm going to be doing, I got a lot of nerding to do. As you guys have seen, we're now streaming to Andy's channel. Hopefully we'll be streaming to Nokasuchi's channel tomorrow. I'll figure out the voting. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it to where everybody on all the channels can vote. I may have to find a third-party software to do the vote. I don't know how I'm going to make that happen. Because right now, only people who watch...
voter suppression. That's what this
It's voter
is.
suppression. That's right. But thank you all for joining us today. I very much appreciate you. Thank you, Andy. Nokasuchi, are you clear? You want to tell us what you got going on?
Yeah. I'm not sure what I'm going to do today, but I'm sure I'll talk to John, and I'll probably do something around 6 p.m., a later stream. But I'm a Big Brother dork, so I'm going to be watching Big Brother finale tonight. So
are you really? I never would have guessed.
Yeah. It's like Big Brother, Survivor, the only shows on actual TV I watch. So.
Really? Got a new subscriber there. Thank you for the new subscriber. If you're not a subscriber to the show, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Do the thing at the place for the guy. I'm the guy. Or if you're watching on Andy Hall's channel, because we're streaming on Andy's channel again today, don't forget to subscribe to Andy, because we have 8 people watching on Andy's channel today.
You know, for Andy's being such an unlikable fellow, he does make some important points on occasion.
So thank you all. Thank you to everybody in the damn nation, all the people on Facebook, YouTube, and the people listening on the Daily Atheist Morning Show podcast. I apologize for the gremlins, but it is what it is. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll eat some gremlins tomorrow too. Take care.
Be strong.
Thank you for watching the show. A special shout out to my gold level Patreon supporters, Cindy Plaza and Ian Davenport. Thank you, and have a great day.